The William Pace Show through the years has been a beacon of light in the Midwest, taking you to such destinations as the Navy Pier, the Palmer Hilton Palace Hotel, the German Village, the Showboat Majestic Theatre, the Ohio Village, and the Krohn Conservatory. There's always something cooking in the kitchen on the William Pace Show. Some of the biggest stars, entertainers, and political figures like B.B. King, Jimmy Walker, Bob Carlisle, Patti Austin, Mr. T, Whitley Phibbs, and Congressman Tony Hall have appeared on the William Pace Show. Now, without further ado, we proudly present the William Pace Show on CATV, coming to you from the heart of the Midwest. The William Pace Show, asking the questions you want to ask, getting the answers everyone wants to know. It's a new season of the William Pace Show. We're raising the bar with more commitment to educate, inform, encourage, inspire, empower, and help you have your best life. Everyone deserves to have their best life. I'm just staying the course. Here we go.
Good evening, I'm William Pace, and thanks so much for tuning us in tonight. Tonight, my guests are Chris and Angela Yowzy. Thanks so much for being on the program tonight.
Thank
Good
you.
to
Thanks
see
for
you.
having us.
We're talking tonight about interracial relationships. And I want to ask you, how did you two meet? And when you met, did the sky open up? Did you hear an orchestra? Or was it a gust of wind that blew by? Tell me about it.
Well, if any of that happened, we were unaware.
Okay.
But I will say, we met actually at church. We had gone to.
That's a good place to meet.
Yes, it is, and we had both been through a very bad divorce. Mm-hmm. He had been divorced and had just moved back to Ohio. And I was just moving to Columbus from my small hometown of Lima. And we had gone through very similar divorces. And we both had custody of our children, which his son was 3.5 and my son was almost 4. And I made a vow to my son a year after we had gotten here that if he was good at church, that I would take him to Cracker Barrel. And when I got to church, I asked the usher if there were any seats because it was a special service. And the usher said, well, if you hold the baby and sit up in the risers, you could probably sit there. So as I go all the way up to the riser and climb through, I said, well, I thought the seat was empty. Well, when I got there, his son, who's a little guy, was sitting in the seat. So I apologized to him for not knowing that the seat was already taken, and he was being so very kind and said, oh, no, you can sit here as long as the kids can sit on the floor. And they had some toys and things, so we set them on the floor. And at that moment, when we set the boys on the floor, his son then said to my son, hi, my name is Michael. I'm your new best friend. We have to be good because my daddy said if I'm good at church tonight, he will take me to Cracker Barrel. So we had the same promise that we had made to both of our sons, and I heard it and it was like, whoa, what is this? And we went out to eat that same night, and he started sharing about his life, and I was trying not to share about my life because I didn't know him. I just met him, and he was very transparent about what he had gone through, and before you know it, he was touching my heart, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is the exact same story. And everywhere we went, the kids were invited to the same birthday party, Sunday school rooms, and everywhere we went, the kids created the dates for us that we were not really trying to do. And before long, we discovered that we really liked each other. We had a lot in common, and then we discovered that we actually loved each other. And here we are 30 years later.
Wow. And this is so important that you're here talking about this, because a lot of people are struggling with interracial relationships, and it's what we don't see enough of are successful relationships that they work, they can work, and that so how long did it take from the romance to lead to a proposal?
Not very long.
It was love at first sight. It was instant.
It was Cracker Barrel.
It was Crackle Barrel love.
Yes. Well, he proposed just 7 months in, I think, and we got married with about a year after we met. So it didn't take us long. So we had some challenges. My parents, I was terrified to tell my dad that I was going to be marrying. First of all, that I was going to get married again. And then I was going to marry someone of a different race. And I remember going home to Lima and I cleaned his entire truck with him. I mean, we washed that truck. I scrubbed it and everything, trying to build up enough nerve and giving him some open-ended questions so that he could maybe prompt to ask. And he never did. So finally he asked, "What are you trying to tell me?" And I said, I'm trying to tell you I'm going to marry a white man. How do you feel about it? And he says, "Well, you try something different." He said, don't limit yourself. You never know, it just might work out. So I got the response I was hoping to get, and now you can tell your response.
Well, when I went home, I used to have her picture up, and every time I'd go home at night, her picture would be face down on my bed, and it it just kind of like hurt me, and I was like, I don't understand this. And so I started praying, and the Lord told me, he said, "Son, I'm going to get racism out of your family, and it's okay." And I said, "Okay. All right." So I remember what the Bible said. It says, when you get married, you cling to the wife of your youth. And it doesn't mean that I'm married to my family, my mom and dad. It says a man shall leave his mother and father and cling to his wife. And so that's what I did. And I told her, I said, we're going to stick together. If we don't stick together, this won't work. And so that's what we've done for almost 30 years, is stick together. And it's worked.
And that's a blessing. And what the word says, the family that prays together stays together. You see?
Yep.
And that's why that's so important. You don't really want to be in a relationship where God is not in it.
Exactly.
Because you really, with the way of the world today, you need God in it.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because God will speak to Chris, and he'll speak to Angela, and he'll say, "Now, that's not what you're supposed to do," you see? And so, but if you didn't have that higher power, you need something bigger than the people who are in the relationship, you see?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
can I say one more thing?
Yes, sir. Please.
So here's the thing with interracial marriage or any marriage. It says he'll test your marriage with fire, or he'll test whatever you build your foundation on. It'll be tested with fire. And that was fire to us. To lose my side of the family for a while, that was fire. And we just stood on the word the whole time. And for these past 30 years, we've stood on the word. I trusted him to get racism out of my family. And when my mom came to live with us almost a year ago, at first it was fire. I mean, it was a lot of fire. And then all of a sudden we seen God move, and we seen, it also says in the Bible that love conquers all.
Yes, it does.
And so we just loved on my mom, and eventually she broke. And she said, "I'm so sorry how I treated you. I mean, I could have had this 30 years ago." And we were like, "Yeah, Mom, you could have had this 30 years ago." And so God is true with what he tells you. He never lies. And so he got racism out of my family.
Praise God. Praise God. More with Chris and Angela Yowzi when we return. You're watching The William Pace Show.
When we first got married, I had 2 sons and she had 1 son. So we didn't look at, well, there are different colors. We looked at, that they'll be our sons. And we said, no matter what, I'll be dad and she'll be mom.
The William Pace Show through the years has been a beacon of light in the Midwest, taking you to such destinations as the Navy Pier, the Palmer Hilton Palace Hotel, the German Village, the Showboat Majestic Theatre, the Ohio Village, and the Krohn Conservatory. There's always something cooking in the kitchen on the William Pace Show. Some of the biggest stars, entertainers, and political figures like B.B. King, Jimmy Walker, Bob Carlisle, Patti Austin, Mr. T, Whitley Phibbs, and Congressman Tony Hall have appeared on the William Pace Show. Now, without further ado, we proudly present the William Pace Show on CATV, coming to you from the heart of the Midwest.
When you go to school, this is your brother, and you stick up for him just like you would your other brothers.
Good evening, I'm William Pace. Thanks so much for tuning us in tonight. My guests this evening are Chris and Angela Yowzy. Thanks so much for being on the program. We're talking about interracial relationships. And before we went to break, Chris, you had mentioned that it was hard for you being in love with Angela and then having the challenges with your family and them not accepting the marriage. How did you deal with that at the time?
When God calls you to do something, he always gives you the grace to do it. And so we had the grace to walk this thing out. He promised me that he would get racism out of my family. And so being in love, it says faith, hope, and love, and the greatest of these is love. And so love conquers all. That's what it says in the Bible. And so
yes, it does.
I stayed in love with my wife, and so I was able to bear or able to work through the challenges of being married to a Black woman and dealing with my parents who didn't like what I was doing. And so really, it's nothing but the grace of God that we were able to walk this out and to see him, get racism out of our family.
Yeah. I think for me, it was, if you don't have the support of your mate when you're going through this, because a lot of people fail in interracial relationships because they end up trying to please both sides.
Yeah.
You can't please both sides. You have to stick with who you've married to and who you made the commitment with. And we just never allowed anything or anyone to come between that. And if you have that kind of protection, it's a security that your mate is in it to win it. and then you can actually open up and let all the love that you want to pour on them pour out. Otherwise, you're reluctant and you hold back and you wonder if they're going to be there, if they're going to make it through all of this. Well, he constantly proved to me that, no, I'm not going anywhere. Love is going to win. Eventually, they'll see the benefit and the blessing of us being together, and which they did.
That is awesome, that's what you just said, because what I have found that in interracial relationships, the two people who are in those relationships, they have to be rock solid in
Yes.
each other, or it won't work. It has to be a joint commitment. And by having that, and as I said before, the family that prays together stays together, then that's what's going to help you to, there are going to be storms in any relationships,
Right.
but, if you've got God in the center of it with you, you can conquer it, you see.
That's right.
For sure.
And so now you have sort of a blended family. I want to hear about your blended family. and did that bring on challenges?
Oh, we didn't really feel it. A lot of people ask us these kind of questions because they're going through so much turmoil. I think because of the most important tool of us being in unity, it was everything. I mean, our kids saw us as a united front. The community saw us as a united front. So the challenges that maybe some other people perhaps would have, we just didn't have to really face that, because I was just mom, he was just dad. It didn't matter what color you were. We would talk about race if it ever came up. We weren't like hiding from it or running from it, or even trying to be something that we really aren't. We were I'm still a Black woman. He's still a white man. You know, he still likes what he likes. I still like what I like. However, instead of making it that I need to change or he needs to change, we just learn. There's so much we can learn from each other if we simply work together. So I felt like we just worked together. I learned so many things that I would have never learned had I not been married to him, and he the same. So our kids, I feel like they were very well rounded, and they experienced some pretty cool things because they knew both sides of culture. Really, it's really just culture.
So you think it was a blessing having a family and having a multicultural experience, because you probably learned things in the relationship that you may have not if you had been in the same race with someone.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, one of the things that you had said before that I really liked is that, you're all brothers, and if you either go together or you don't go together. You were talking about going to visit some of your family members or something like that.
Yes. I'll let you speak to that.
Well, see, I've coached football for 27 years. And in order to make a team work, that's what I saw our family as a team. We were a family, but we're also a team. And so in order to make a team work, you have to be in unity.
Yes.
If you're not in unity, it'll fall apart. Everybody wants to go their different ways or run this way and run that way. And we're only 2 people. So we had 6 boys. So we have to run the same way. And so I told him, I said, when you go to school, that's your brother. It doesn't change. It doesn't change when we go out. They're still your brothers. We're still mom and dad. And to this day, they still call us mom and dad. And to this day, those boys, they still get together, even though we're not with them. They still play video games. They still, talk with each other. They get on, they get all those, doing all the tech stuff. I don't understand all of it, but they do. And they love it, and they stay together still. And it's amazing. It's just wonderful to watch your sons get along.
And that's another accomplishment too, because with families being estranged from one another, siblings not being in harmony with one another, it sounds like you've done a wonderful job in keeping them together, and close as family members, and because today so many families are divided, and when we return, I want to talk a little bit more about experience. What advice would you give to people who are, maybe attracted to someone in another culture or race, but afraid what their families might think or their friends might think? So we're going to be talking about that when we return. More with Chris and Angela Yowzy when we return. Stay with us.
I really feel like we need to, first of all, have that dialogue with one another and be willing to accept that maybe your views are flawed and maybe they're not. But at the same time, if we don't ever start to talk and to acknowledge that there's problems that we need to resolve, then we're never going to get anywhere.
The William Pace Show through the years has been a beacon of light in the Midwest, taking you to such destinations as the Navy Pier, the Palmer Hilton Palace Hotel, the German Village, the Showboat Majestic Theatre, the Ohio Village, and the Krohn Conservatory. There's always something cooking in the kitchen on the William Pace Show. Some of the biggest stars, entertainers, and political figures like B.B. King, Jimmy Walker, Bob Carlisle, Patti Austin, Mr. T, Whitley Phibbs, and Congressman Tony Hall have appeared on the William Pace Show. Now, without further ado, we proudly present the William Pace Show on CATV, coming to you from the heart of the Midwest.
there are people that really are ready to see some change and to push forward, but people are afraid to speak because you don't know what to say, and I get that. So, but I think if we could at least do our little piece, everybody doing their little piece together makes a whole piece.
Good evening, I'm William Pace, and thanks so much for tuning in to the William Pace Show tonight. My guests this evening are Chris and Angela Yowsi, and we're talking about interracial relationships. What do you think people should do if they meet someone, say they met someone and they think, well, gee, this is a nice person. I like to get to know them more. Oh, but this person is white, or this person is black, and oh, what would my folks say about that? Or what would whatever. So what advice would you give to people in that situation?
Yeah, I would say, first of all, it's your life. And you only get one life to live. And, for me, it just didn't matter what color he was. All I wanted was a man that loved God. You create your list, and what is it that you want, and what are you looking for? Mm-hmm. I just didn't limit him to he had to be a black man, or he had to be a light-skinned black man, or a whatever. It just, mm-hmm. those kind of things are just so surface. And I wanted someone who loved God and who was going to love my son and also love me. And if that was what he was able to do, and still we had that connection and love and bond with each other, and he bonded with my son the way he did, well, I'm not sure what else more, what I could be looking for. So
that's what else is there. I mean, really,
exactly.
Think about it, because if you're looking for a Saturday night brawl, some people have to have excitement. I guess they have to go whatever to get that. But if you're just looking for somebody that is a godly person, and
right.
that you are a godly person and you want God in the center of it, what else could you really ask for or
what are you looking
desire?
For? Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly. And we just really, I knew that he had all the qualities that I was looking for. And so for me to limit myself by saying, well, he's not black, I didn't set out to look for a white man. That was never something I said, well, the guy I'm going to marry, he has to be white. That was just was not
mm-hmm.
even in my thought process. But I saw the God qualities in him. And he wasn't ashamed to display it. He wasn't ashamed to display that. He when we went out to eat right off the bat, he didn't care if people looked at us or how they looked at us. He was always protective even of that. He said, mm-hmm. forget what people are saying. Forget how they're looking at us. This is you and I, focus here. So it takes some focus. But I tell you, if you find someone who treats you like that and who convinces you that, it doesn't matter about the outward appearance of the color of our skin. If you're treating me the way I need to be treated, and I'm treating you the way you need to be treated, and we're committed to this, then we're going to make this thing work. And we always, we prayed. I can't stress enough, the importance of seeking God on it and asking him, because marriage is God's institution. He's the one who created it, so you can't omit him from it. And we always prayed about it, even up to the point of when we said, I do. We kept saying, Lord, if this is your will, and because we wanted to be in God's perfect will, most importantly.
That's an interesting point that you make, because in relationships, it's a day-to-day work, you see? Mm-hmm. And it's how well you work at it and how much you involve God in it that it works together, you see?
Yes.
And
mm-hmm.
and one of my favorite scriptures is that we count it all as joy, you see? We're going, trials and tribulations, we're always going to have them, you see? And so there are no perfect situations, you see? It's how well we trust God in the midst of those situations to
Sure.
work it out, you see?
Mm-hmm.
And he always will. if you seek God and if you listen carefully to that inner voice, which I believe is God, And so what's in the future coming up for Chris and Angela?
Oh, so much.
So tell me a little bit.
Yes. Well, as a result of who we are, we didn't really realize what all God had in store for us. He has so many things in store, and has so many things even planned now that we're just now starting to just dive into. But we launched a church about 5 years ago. We wrote the books, Creating Unity and Reignite Passion, because we are so passionate about marriages and people being successful in their relationships. So, and we've gone through so much. We've made it through horrible divorces and drug-addicted spouses, and then just being interracial and raising 6 sons, starting a business. All those things are challenges that keep marriages from functioning the way they should, or even keeping them together altogether. So we knew that people would come to us and ask us, okay, if you guys are making it work, then I should be able to make this work. So what is it that you know that we don't know? And so we would sit people on our sofa and we talk to them, and before you know it, one person grew into 2 and 3 and 4 and 20, and now we have conferences. So we love to see marriages thrive. We love to share. So we wrote the book so that we can reach more people than what's in front of us. So yeah, that's the most important thing that we do outside of our family, is to continue to help marriages. So in November, we will be hosting the marriage conference, Reignite Passion Marriage Conference here in Columbus, Ohio. So we're super excited about that. Yeah.
Okay, give us that date again. And also, I want you to give us the name of your book and how people can get that book too.
Sure. The name of our book, the first one is Creating Unity, Your Guide to Leading a Marriage Support Group. So that one was actually written for someone who wants to help us to reach people and support marriages and teach them how to do it. The Reignite Passion is the second book, and they're best-selling books. And Reignite Passion, Your Guide to a Happier Marriage, and you can get them both on Amazon, or you can just go to our website and our Made for More, which is m4mohio.com, m4mohio.com. Everything is there. The conference for Reignite Passion is the first Saturday of November. I want to say November 7th. I can't exactly remember the date, but it's the first Saturday of November.
We'll put it up on the screen. We'll put it up on the screen for the viewers too. Well, I want to thank you both for being on the program tonight. Chris and Angela Yowsey, thank you so much for being on the program. Good to talk to you. Take care.
Likewise.
There's more to come on The William Pace Show. Stay with us. The William Pace Show on CATV.
The William Pace Show through the years has been a beacon of light in the Midwest, taking you to such destinations as the Navy Pier, the Palmer Hilton Palace Hotel, the German Village, the Showboat Majestic Theatre, the Ohio Village, and the Krohn Conservatory. There's always something cooking in the kitchen on the William Pace Show. Some of the biggest stars, entertainers, and political figures like B.B. King, Jimmy Walker, Bob Carlisle, Patti Austin, Mr. T, Whitley Phibbs, and Congressman Tony Hall have appeared on the William Pace Show. Now, without further ado, we proudly present the William Pace Show on CATV, coming to you from the heart of the Midwest.